Here's Brody Brazil.
As it stands right now, there's still a ton of things to be sorted through before the A's can officially relocate to Las Vegas. I mean, yes, they need the owner's vote to the tune of 75% approval, but they also need to figure some things out, like renderings of the ballpark, blueprints, how much it's going to cost, where they'll play for the 25, 6, and 7 seasons. But there is one thing that we can read into and we'll be able to see play out right in front of our eyes over the next couple years about how serious the A's are taking this move and what their future plans look like. And of course, it all comes down to money, right? Money talks more than anything else. We'll have to keep a close eye on the team's payroll because we know they cannot go into Las Vegas. If they're ultimately approved for that, they can't go in and do things the way that they have been for the last handful of years and more. There's something about the A's and the $100 million mark, as in two things here. There's only 3 major league teams to never award a $100 million contract. Like player X for this many years worth $100 or more million. Those 3 teams, the Kansas City Royals, the Chicago White Sox, and the Oakland A's. Oakland's largest contract was to Eric Chavez. 6 years, $66 million. That was back in the early 2000s. You'll see what I'm talking about in just a second. So the A's, Royals, and White Sox are the 3 big league teams to never award one single player $100 million or more. Despite however many years they signed him for, they've never paid anybody to that amount. The A's are also the only Major League Baseball team to never field a $100 million payroll team per one season. That's right, every other team in the league at some point has broke the $100 million mark. The A's almost did it. I think they were still about $8 or $9 million away. Back in 2019, things were vibing. They liked their group. They were building towards Howard Terminal, but that's as close by far as they've ever come to fielding a $100 million team in any single season. I can tell you all that, but this spells it out even better. Do you see all the way over there to the left? That Kelly green dot? That's the A's. This is the largest contract by team. It shows the years, it shows the value. I mean, look at way at the top, where the Angels and Dodgers and Yankees and Padres and Mets and Phillies and Rangers and Boston are. And then look how long ago the A's offered their biggest contract. 2004. To Xavi. That's the 6-year, $66 million deal. And there's the, right next to my finger here, there's the White Sox and Royals. They're still not at the 100 mark. The Pirates, the Guardians, the Cardinals are. All those other teams are. But the A's are not. And the last time they handed out their biggest contract was coming up on 20 years ago. Almost 20 years ago. You see where everybody else is, and you see where the A's are. Sometimes the visual just tells a better story than I ever could. So here's a look at the A's payroll since the year 2000. And granted, you know over time there's inflation and baseball as a business has changed, and there is that huge spike in 2020. I wish for a lot of reasons we didn't have that spike. But the trajectory here just is not tremendous. I mean, the A's have spent more on their team in 2007, 2008, 10 and 11, certainly 14, 15 and 16 and 17, spending way more than they actually have been lately. Now, where does this rank? I wanted to put the A's and White Sox side by side because Chicago's other team, right? It's a 2-team market. That's another similarity. I wanted to pick the White Sox because they get criticized for being frugal in their player spending. Even the White Sox, and especially as of late, but I mean, the White Sox broke $100 million in 2005? Obviously, they had some World Series victories to taste decades ago during those times, but you can see where their spending has been versus where the A's have always been. And I'm hammering here on A's payroll. Have the A's won a lot of games since 2000? Let's take some time to separate from that. They've been very successful since 2000. A lot of great regular seasons. They've gotten to a lot of playoff games. They've won some playoff games and series. Their postseason is kind of where things just haven't gone well. But in terms of the regular seasons and the biggest measure of success, yeah, they have found success more than a lot of other teams during that span. So you can't knock what they've done with it. It's just that the commitment to the players and keeping groups and being sustainable over time, maybe that hasn't taken place. So here's the A's versus the median MLB payroll. Not the average, I'm saying the median. Like, go from the top spending team to the lowest spending team, draw a line right in the middle, basically between, 15 and 16, right? Draw a line there. The A's have historically always been pretty well below the median. And I'll draw the line here of the trend, right? You can see that trend. You can see that arrow from 2000 to this past season, 2023. There's where the spending was. There's where it is now. It's only generally gone up a little bit. I mean, again, there are other spikes, but you can see how their trend didn't continue. It's kind of tailed off here. Here's the median MLB payroll trend by team. Yeah, that's a totally different angle on that arrow. But there's a lot of people who right now understand that if the A's want to be successful in Las Vegas, they've got to give you the players. They've got to get the Shohei Ohtanis that people want to come to the Strip and see. And it's no knock against their current squad, but they need headliners. Every Vegas act does. In 2023, their worst Oakland season ever. 50 wins. Their payroll this year, well, it started out at $56.8 million. That was opening day. It went down significantly after that. So what does 2028 have to look like if that's when they would be playing their first season in Nevada? Well, let's take a look at what 2027 would probably have to be. You'd probably have to get to the 90-win mark if you want to be talking about playoffs and success and coming in with something interesting. And if you're going to spend up to the median amount, let's call it the average amount too. They're different things, but let's pencil them in as being close together. $170 million is the median or close to average MLB payroll. So in 4 years, they're going to have to more than about triple their payroll. That's a huge difference from where they're at now versus the next couple years. Let's stretch out that median payroll for just a second. So this is the same graph I showed you before, except for the ending. I'm going to project a little bit here. There's that line and that new trend. Let's say that the MLB median payroll in 2027 or 8, let's say it's about $180 million, 175, 180, right? So the A's were already on this track, getting them to 56, what did we say, 56 to start last season. Here's the interesting part. Check out this dashed blue line. That's now the trajectory that their payroll has to go on if they want to just get to MLB's median team salary. See that line go instantly up? It's on a different trend, and then it has to shoot way up. Now, why is this important? You're also at a time in 2024, 5, 6, 7, and 8, and beyond, that you're paying for a brand new stadium. You're paying to move the team. You're paying to maybe have a way higher rent for those temporary seasons, wherever they'll be played. This is a huge cost. This is a huge expense that still nobody is talking about. And again, I mean, this is just to get them to the average. If you want to talk about top 5, top 10 salary teams, that's even way steeper of a line than where this is at. Now, they can be competitive with a lower salary, no question. But at some point, if you want to bring in the right players, and then you want to keep the right players, you want to go back to 2022 and keep Chapman, Olsen, Marcus, Sean Murphy, Chris Bassett, Mark Canha, and beyond. Starling Marte, Josh Harrison. I could could continue forever. But the point is that those are some crazy lines that will have to exist if the A's are going to spend and compete like everybody's talking about here. 2026 right now, like as of this moment, there's 3 different groups here I want to highlight. The Yankees have already committed $137 million to their team for 2026. Yeah, we're not even in 24 yet. They've already got that on the books. The Padres 127, the Phillies 116. There's a lot of teams that have already committed 9 figures to their teams for 2026. And then there's even middle-of-the-road teams, Tampa, Cleveland, Detroit, 50s, and almost $40 million already committed to 2026. I say how difficult it is for the A's to get up to that number of commitment. Oakland and Baltimore right now have committed $0 to 2026. Granted, that's because the A's are where they are, like Baltimore should be. I mean, Baltimore's got a team. Baltimore's got the players. They have not committed to those guys, and largely a lot of them are arbitration eligible. Where you're at is important in this, but there's a lot of teams that also have younger players in the next core coming up, and they've committed to some of them. The A's and Orioles are the 2 teams in all of baseball that have not committed to any player or any money for 2026. And again, we're talking about them spending by that year, $155, $60 million for payroll, and right now, 0. So maybe we'll see it this offseason. Maybe there's a vote taken in November. Maybe by spring training, there's a couple free agents added. Maybe the A's get serious. I mean, like literally, you'll laugh when I say the A's have to go after Shohei Ohtani. Go ahead. You can laugh. But if they're going to take this serious and do what they're supposed to do and compete and bring in talent and make a true Las Vegas product, then they've got to bring in that caliber of player, that exciting type of player and team to the table. We'll see how it goes. You made it here to the end of the video. You know I appreciate that. Thumbs up down below. That'll help me out. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel so I can definitely see you back here next time.